Have you noticed how there's almost no art from over 100 years ago that we can still access? Truly great art references work that's come before it, but in the fashion world we really only have access to the last few decades. I was born in the 90s and I've lived through two 90s revivals so far. The trend cycles just keep repeating stuff from the 50s to the 2000s. We just keep bringing it back but never going any further back. I think it's because we don't have access to the designs that came before the Victorian era, really. When I was researching Erte, all I could find were his drawings, which were in the Harper's Bazaar. Because it's in a printed medium and Harper's Bazaar is a huge institution, his work was able to survive from the 1920s till now. I don't know if any of his designs were made in fabric. I couldn't find any photos online. And that was just 100 years ago, a little blip in the human timeline. When I did my master's study on V&A, I learned that she and her designers would go to museums and they'd study ancient artifacts for inspiration. I think that's because she was building on the work of people who came before her, and that's why her designs were so great. My intention with learning how to archive is that I want to continue the work of great masters who came before me. So I believe it's my responsibility to archive my work as faithfully as possible, and if I have the time, to archive the work of the people who came before me, who inspired me in the medium of my time, like video, so that future generations can access it. I put together a list of all the things I want to archive, and I've decided that it needs to be archived in a physical medium and a digital medium. Digital because anyone anywhere in the world can access it, and physical because for things like clothes you need the physical artifacts. So this is what I decided I want to archive. Photos from my life. That means printing out physical photos as well as keeping some sort of digital system of organizing them. Videos I've made. I think the physical way would be a USB, and then of course digitally storing them on the cloud. If you know another way to store videos in a physical sense besides a USB, I'm talking to preserve them for decades, let me know, because technology changes so quickly. My dad burned CDs of family photos and stuff, but my computer doesn't even have a CD drive anymore. So the actual garments that I'm making, this is the real work that I'm doing. I need to keep a physical version of it, and I also need to have professional, high quality photos of them. I booked a shoot with a photographer to take photos of my work. I think I'll film the process and put it on Patreon. I also want to archive the sewing patterns I've designed. So the physical copy is of course the paper patterns themselves. I might put them onto heavy cardboard. And then the digital version is of course the digital versions that I send out to the people who buy them. At the moment I'm doing heaps of collage. So I've been scanning them and putting them online, and I also keep them in an archival quality folder, the type you can get from an art store. Sketchbooks. I always have one on me, and I finish them very quickly, especially when I go through these creative bursts. I'm just sketching out ideas. Not all of the pages are worth keeping. Maybe 25% are worth keeping. So my method has been tearing out the important pages and keeping them in a folder. But I think I need to scan them as well so that I have a digital copy. I also like to write. At the moment I write on my computer in a Google Doc, but I think the stuff that is really important I should also be writing down in a physical journal. And lastly is recipes. A lot of recipes I know off by heart by now, but there's other times where I'm trying to cook and load the recipe on my phone, and it's just you have to scroll through all the pages of nonsense that is at the top of a recipe, and then there's photos and ads, and it's just I need some way of keeping my recipes that I can constantly reference and use. If you want to archive your stuff as well, I suggest putting together a list like I did and figure out a way that you can keep it physically and digitally. We're not just individuals, we're part of a large tree of artists that came before us. Our own eye is flawed, but when we use references, we can elevate our work to a higher level. This could be working from a photograph to get the right proportions, or doing a master study to learn their techniques. Speaking of, my next master study is going to be on Elsa Schiaparelli. I'm currently reading a biography of her life and super excited to get into that, but it's not ready yet, which is why I'm talking about something else this week. When you examine who inspired your favorite artists and then who inspired that person, you can trace back a path and you can see like a direction that's happening with the art. You do this by finding what they have in common, what's the common theme or principle going back, and then you can project that path forward to continue on the work. This removes the burden of our own ego to be this like individual genius, and we can just put that aside and build something actually great because we're standing on the shoulders of giants. These trees of thought should go back thousands of years, as far as you can trace back, ideally. And you only have a very short amount of time to continue the work before someone in the future will pick it up again, if you did a good job archiving it.